The new XP Icon, the first truly wireless metal detector, with multi-frequency technology at a price everyone can afford. No wires, no rods. So small it can search while hidden inside a bag. So discreet that it detects targets even 20 meters away from the remote control. Weighing just 700 grams, it follows you everywhere. In the mountains, on the beach, or in the water, without interference from salt water, dives to a maximum depth of 5 meters underwater. The proven technology of the Deus 2 is now accessible to everyone. Simultaneous transmission of multiple frequencies from 4 to 40 kHz for reliable detection of weak signals from very small or deeply buried targets in mineralized soil. Distinguish between metals using conductivity levels and different audio tones. Reject unwanted targets with the push of a button and focus on what really matters. Spot valuable items buried in the trash. The icon locates coins or rings right next to and beneath scrap metal with impressive speed. Connect wirelessly to all Deus 2 accessories. Coils, headphones, and the MI6 pinpointer activate instantly with a single click. No coil movement is required to trigger a hit. It conducts a thorough search in static mode, delving deep into branches, rocky terrain, and difficult-to-access locations. No complicated settings required. Select one of the preset programs available from our dealership and begin your search right away, utilizing advanced depth detection and effective metal discrimination techniques. Free software updates and a 5-year warranty, extendable to 10 years. Available exclusively from XP Greece's authorized distributor, Kyritsis Metal Detectors. Startup and program selection via the icon. Field, for trash-free soil, meadows, plowed land, damp conditions, and general searches. Field with trash, for areas with trash and ore. Suitable for small targets. Forest, for soil free of trash and ore. Detects large targets at depth. Park, for individual coins in soil containing aluminum foil and bottle caps. Wet sand, for dry and wet sand. beach and surf, for use in seawater and on the beach. At the Kyritsis dealership, you'll also find a program for searching for large objects at maximum depth. After making changes to a factory program, we can save it as an additional operator program. This icon confirms that it has been saved. We can also delete it. In order to start our investigation, the only thing we must do is to carry out a ground balancing process. This way, the detector filters out natural ore no matter how difficult that may be. It produces no interference, is quiet, and offers good depth. To adjust the XP icon to the ground, place the coil on a spot that's clear of any metal objects. And hold down the ground balance button steadily. Move the coil up and down 0 to 10 centimeters above the ground until the signal quiets down. It is now calibrated. During the search, you should keep the coil moving in fast, wide sweeps. Take care with every single step to avoid leaving any gaps in the ground that the coil of the detector has not fully scanned. You'll notice that when the ground changes, we won't need to perform a ground balance, as we do with other detectors. The machine is quiet on the fire bricks. Why? In multi-frequency mode, the device uses an algorithm to filter out most of the minerals in the ground without requiring a ground balance adjustment. And when we come across iron ore here, it still doesn't cause any interference. You'll find this advantage in standard mode. However, if you want greater depth in very difficult soils, you need to go to the soil menu and switch from standard to pro. In the soil menu, I switch from standard to pro. I start the search by performing a ground balance again. The device is now calibrated. We begin the search. When we come across fire bricks, there's no interference at all. However, when we encounter a stronger mineral, such as ironstone, it produces these noises. To quiet the machine, we'll need to adjust the ground settings on it. Hold down the button and play the disc until it quiets down. Done. In Pro mode, it can sometimes be tedious to keep adjusting the ground balance. The XP Icons menu offers automatic ground rejection. The device will automatically filter out minerals, no matter how difficult they are to detect, without us having to press the button. In the soil menu, by holding down here, I select Auto. And we begin the search. It discards the fire bricks. And when it hits the ironstone, it beeps. After conducting the scan multiple times, it appears that the machine ultimately decides to reject the result, indicating a failure in processing the information as expected. In other words, it will take at most a few scans to determine if it's or so it can reject it. Whereas, If it's metal, it will continue to beep. During the search, we adjust the sensitivity immediately using the plus and minus buttons. We decrease its level if we detect any interference, but we increase it when it functions steadily without any issues. When we come across a target, we should check that it has a steady, repeating signal from all directions, horizontally at times, and vertically. If the signal is stable from all directions, that means it's real metal. The next step is to perform horizontal and vertical sweeps and check the identification number on the screen. Horizontally, and vertically. A low-pitched tone indicates iron. Low tone for thin, worthless objects. Increased quantity and tone for rings and various types of jewelry. Extremely high tone and frequency for coins as well as significant valuable items. Unstable pitch and frequency for iron and zinc alloys. We proceed to pinpoint the target. This way we'll find its center, to save time while digging. We'll calculate its depth and size. We place the coil away from the target, at a spot where it doesn't pick up anything, about 10 centimeters. Higher, and hold down the centering button. It switches to pinpoint mode. We approach the target with slow movements and perform slow crisscross sweeps. A small object has a small surface area. A large object, on the other hand, has a large surface area. We can determine whether the target is near surface or deep based on the bars at the top of the screen. If the target is very superficial, the bars close. If the target is deep, the bars will remain open. Exit the focusing mode by pressing and holding here. Let's proceed to locate the target using the pinpointer MX. Tap briefly to start. Tap the button briefly on the ground to perform a ground balance. And I'm searching. We're going to test the depth of the new XP icon with 4 different sized objects. A 2 euro coin, a soda can, a bullet casing, and a box of ammunition. For this test, we'll use the static program No Movement that it offers. Our target here is 2 World War II ammunition boxes. Each measures 26 by 7 centimeters, and their combined volume is 26 by 14 centimeters. The depth is over 1 meter. We're approximately 1.10 to 115. Using the XP icon, we have the capability to secure the machine in a static operational mode. In other words, we can set the machine to run a program without movement. No movement is the scanning mode used by pulse detectors with a frame. In detectorist lingo, this program is therefore also called the pulse program. The XP icon is a multi-frequency detector. This technology is even more advanced than pulse induction because it transmits multiple frequencies simultaneously into the ground. The device has multiple passes, allowing it to calculate a better average of the signals to completely filter out interference from ore and moisture. Pulse detectors with a frame didn't perform as well in this regard. Multi-frequency detectors perform much better, and you can see in seawater that they have absolutely no interference. I'd like to move on to a demonstration of the static mode, because it's extremely useful in hard-to-reach areas. That is, in areas among branches, wooded areas, hard-to-reach spots, enclosed areas, in cracks in rocks, in bushes, and among holm oaks. In these spots, it's not easy to maneuver the disc, so we'll have to go slowly. And if we go slowly, as you can see, we don't get a signal. So a metal detector is considered good if it can perform well in different conditions and solve problems during the search. A detector is considered reliable if it can work anywhere and at any time. So in a space like this, to lock in pulse mode, we'll find a spot that's clear. Like right here, for example. We'll hold down this button, the focus button, for a few seconds. The machine enters pulse mode and marks it with this pinpoint, right here, as you can see. I'm slowly moving to the target. No further movement is needed. I'm scanning horizontally and vertically. And here, I can define the size of the target. As you can see, it's a large object. Let's go. In this mode, we need to regularly, every few minutes, maintain a 15-point clearance from the ground and briefly press here to reset. Exactly. There you go. And let's continue our search. Here's the target. And we also have an indication that it's a deep object. You can see that the bars at the top of the screen aren't closing. You'll see the bars on the right and left. They don't close. As we get closer to the target, as we descend, the bars get longer. And here's a tip. The higher you are above the ground, the closer you get to zero. Let me show you again. I have the disc higher now. I'm about 25 centimeters off the ground. I'm zeroing it higher off the ground. The machine becomes more sensitive. As you can see, but by doing this, that is, if you zero it much higher off the ground, you'll need to maintain that distance as a safety margin to avoid interference. If you want to zero the device closer to the ground, it will operate more stably and run more quietly, but you may lose some points. In any case, you should zero the machine away from metal objects. Program menu selection. The icon uses two different tones by default. A low tone for metal objects and a high tone for others. Other options include 3 or 5 tones. Now, low target identification numbers will be announced with a bass tone and high numbers with a treble tone. In pitch mode, the pitch increases as the coil approaches the target. In full tones mode, it produces multiple tones that increase in number depending on the target's number. To distinguish between the bass tone of iron and other unwanted targets, we check their identification number. We increase the discrimination setting to that number. Now all targets with a lower number are announced as iron. To manually reject or accept an unwanted target, check its identification icon. Move the cursor and discard that icon and its neighbors. Targets are no longer detected on these icons. To accept them, follow the reverse procedure. To automatically reject or accept a useless target, hold down the check key and move the coil over it. Targets are no longer detected in these icons. We lower the metal tone volume or mute it completely to 0. During a search, tap here to clear all rejections. The icon will detect all metals at depth. If there is electromagnetic interference, manually select the quietest frequency channel. Automatic selection of the quietest frequency channel. For stronger interference or targeted searches, select a single frequency. 4 kHz for large objects in depth in clean soil. 13 kHz for general searches for individual coins. 28 kHz for very small thin objects in contaminated soil. In sound modes 1 through 3, deep targets have reduced intensity. In modes 4 through 6, deep targets are amplified to the same volume as surface targets. In modes 1, 3, 4, and 6, the sound is sharp and high-pitched. In modes 2 and 5, soft sound for areas with a lot of debris. On levels 2, 3, 5, and 6, A stereo signal is used with wireless headphones. In standard mode, no interference is heard when the soil composition changes. In Pro mode, it detects deeper, but requires ground rejection to eliminate interference when the mineral content increases. In Auto mode, it automatically rejects soil and cancels interference as mineral concentration rises. At a low scan speed, it detects large objects at depth. At high speed, it detects small, thin targets in soils with difficult ore and slag. Speed set to 0. Iron and gold coin. Low pitch tone for iron. High tone on the coin, but if I place the gold coin under the iron, it can't distinguish them as clearly. Now I'm increasing the speed. Six. General detector settings. Adjust the volume of the audio or connected headphones. Set the screen backlight duration in seconds. Select Always On for the screen backlight. Adjust the backlight brightness. Software update. Now connect the icon to a computer. Exit without updating. Connect to a mobile phone via the Go Terrain app. In auto mode, it sends target signals to the phone automatically. In push mode, the operator sends the target signal manually by pressing and holding the gear icon. Connection of wireless headphones. From the off state, hold down the headphone button until they are saved to memory. Now the headphones connect and disconnect automatically when the icon is turned on and off. Deleting wireless headphones. Connecting the XP Pinpointer MI6. With the device turned off, press and hold the button until it is saved to memory. Now turn on the MI6. It will automatically connect to the icon. Deleting the XP Pinpointer MI6. Connecting additional wireless transmitters. Select a common location, for example, coil number 2. It has entered disconnection mode. We put the coil on charge. It is now automatically registered in the icon's memory. Select a disk to search, for example 1, 2, and so on, and it connects automatically. Deleting a disk from memory. Restore factory settings. Caution: saved operator programs will be deleted. For deep dives where water pressure increases, lock the buttons. To unlock them, quickly press the 3 flashing dashes in succession.